the capacity to do good college work, the transition to university conditions is not always easily made, wrote the tactful dean. We ask for your cooperation in notifying us if you have reason to believe your son is having difficulty. Write us about him, as fully as you are willing, with references to his individual qualities and needs, the dean urged Kennedy. In case he has deficiencies in his earlier education or weaknesses in character or health, we ought to know about. In fact, there was reason for Joseph to believe that Edward Kennedy, Ted or Teddy, sometimes Eddie to family and pals, might find the transition difficult. It's not that Ted was not gifted, far from it. The last of the Kennedy boys was tall and handsome, with a robust physique, arboreal quads, a $1-million grin, and an exuberant sense of humor. His thick, wavy, dark brown hair would last a lifetime, and the mighty Irish jaw was assertive, if prone to be enveloped in times of plenty by the chipmunk cheeks of the Fitzgeralds, his maternal line. His eyes were expressive, not probing like his older brother John's, but vulnerable and eloquent in times of sorrow. He was a warm, playful human being who loved dogs, good times, song, and devilry. To find Ted Kennedy, listen for the laughter, a friend of his would say. He said his prayers and went to church, a Sermon on the Mount, not a Ten Commandments Catholic. He was more than intelligent, but no intellectual. His brother John called Ted a gay illiterate. When motivated, most notably by his father's prodding, he'd invest the needed hours in the study halls and carols. As the last of 9 children, he had sometimes been coddled, but often neglected. He knew loneliness, having spent much of his childhood shuttled off to boarding schools. By the time he got to Harvard, he had attended 10 different schools. Or was it 9? Or 11? His mother could sometimes not remember. The experience left him unsure. He stumbled over words, a cognitive tell. He did better when rehearsed, and he knew it. Throughout his life, he would compensate via intense preparation and relentless effort. It made for an intricate and complex character, that marvelous affability joined with drive and perseverance, insecurities addressed by toil, and anxiety salved by self-indulgence. He would spend that life seeking to catch up to his siblings. The disadvantage of my position is being constantly compared with brothers of such superior ability, he would say. As a Kennedy, he had formidable advantages, and just as formidable expectations. His grandfathers were men of note in Boston. Each was the son of an Irish immigrant father who died young in the new land, leaving the boys to sustain their families. Each found his way into politics. Tight-lipped Patrick J. Kennedy, an East Boston barkeep, tavern owner, and liquor distributor, served in the state Senate and on the Democratic Party's Board of Strategy, which sought to arbitrate disputes among the town's fractionate Democrats. There, he recurrently found an ally in garrulous John Fitzgerald, who would ascend from the North End to the U.S. Congress and to City Hall, where he served 2 terms as Boston's mayor. Their families gathered for picnics on Old Orchard Beach in Maine, and Patrick Kennedy's son Joseph married John Fitzgerald's daughter Rose. Rose was a fine catch, Irish-American royalty, rocked to sleep to political lullabies, she would say. Joseph was a lone wolf, with a lean and hungry look, who set out to build a fortune in finance. Tenaciously independent, a reporter wrote in his notes. A cold-blooded predilection to bet against the crowd, wrote another. When you get out on the street, you have got to be a cold appraiser or you die, Joseph told the scribes. Fine advice, not always followed. Joseph Kennedy was a temperamental sort, self-made, gifted, sensitive, and prickly, reliant on instinct, which sporadically failed him. He could rage, engage in torrid love affairs, crush rivals, and be overpowered by emotion when seeing the polio-stricken children who shared the rehabilitative swimming pool with the disabled Roosevelt at Warm Springs, Georgia. While serving as the U.S. ambassador to Great Britain at the outset of World War II, Kennedy had scuttled his yen to be the first Roman Catholic president